that I am out of nature, I was naturally drawn to groups of men who were warriors. But in my case, it was significantly touched with the aesthetic aesthetic colors and music. Only later I have learned from Plato that the education of soldiers for the Polis was very well designed by him as gymnastics combined with ethics and music education, because you need strong lions. If you want to have soldiers that will defend the Polis, but they must not be, wild and uncontrolled, in the sense that they would overthrow the philosophers, as was the case then in later Rome, when the Praetorian Guard was actually the small group out of which the last emperors were selected basically by murdering the previous one. They came to power like a pack of hounds, killing each other because they were extremely strong, and but they were uncontrolled. They were completely egoistic. So Plato wanted to prevent this in his Republic, and what he suggested that they should have naturally musical education that will arouse feelings of nobility, feelings of rapture and ecstasy towards a higher purpose than physical, victory and the lust of the body, and eating and drinking and fucking around and destroying the enemy, because a strong body of a human male warrior, when it is not educated and verified by aesthetics, ethics, and music, which music is naturally the realm of aesthetics, tends naturally to destruction, because the overflowing energy does not find an outpouring in creative, slow work and creation, like in the farmer and in the craftsman and in the artist, like a painter. He has to be slow and precise and have pleasure in creating and working and beautifying his surroundings. This lion soldier of a young man who is exploding with energy simply cannot do if he is not immersed into that from childhood.
Every single day I got a heartache coming my way. I don't wanna say goodbye, baby, but look at the tears in my eyes. I don't wanna say goodbye, baby, but look at the way you made me cry. In every way that's nice, you show you got a heart that's made of ice. And I know fire and water must have made you that daughter. You got what it takes to make a poor man's heart break. Listen. Lover, you turn me on. must have made you their daughter. You got what it takes to make a poor man's heart break. Oh, that's breaking, baby. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Can imagine young, very strong boys, a farmer family, who from the very early age work, okay, on the farm, and out of these, the best warriors would be developed if the situation would arise and there would be some farmers' revolt, okay, like it was with the Hussites. My homeland best warriors were the Hussites. John Huss was a Reformation preacher of the 15th century who very much strongly attacked Rome because of corruption and perversion of the institutional clergy. For that he was tried, he in the city of Constance, where I now lie in superposition. I always call myself a bard in the superposition on the mattress or a sleeping mat in the city of Constance, because in my home language Czech it is a rhyme. V kostnici v superpozici. In Constance, in superposition, the bard is lying. So the John Huss was unjustly burned at stake here. It was one of the first great political trials in Europe at the birth of the Renaissance times, and the Czech gentry and peasantry was so disgusted with this treacherous deed, because he was not only a priest, he was also a learned man, rector of Charles University in Prague, okay, which was founded by the great Emperor Charles IV in 1348, and he was director like at the beginning of the 15th century, 1405, 1410, and he was a very learned person, and so he wanted to discuss and dispute his criticism with the Roman Church here. I'm digressing, but I mean, you can enjoy this if you know my style, that it is circling by analogy around the central subject. The subject is now how to beautify and harmonize the soul and body of a young man to become a protector of the realm of the polis, as Plato said, and what is the role of music in it. And I have just suggested one way would be, if it would not be done in a school of professional trainers, it could happen passively in the farmer's family, where a young, very strong boy with an open soul would be born, and he would be kept to work with the animals and in the fields from the very beginning, and so the outbursts of his energy, physical energy, would be always channeled into a creative, down-to-earth work. And I suggested from these men, the best military leaders and warriors would be grown if there was an attempt and necessity of a farmers' revolution, which actually happened in the history of Europe, like in the 15th century, as I've said, after the great thinker, reformer, and learned personality of the Bohemian kingdom, who was admired and loved both by the people and the nobility, at least parts of it, was burned at stake here. There followed an uproar, and the farmers united with the nobility, at least with some leaders of the nobility, military leaders, and have created the best army of European Middle Ages, the Hussite peasant wars. For 20 years, they were unbeaten, and they have crushed the Roman Crusaders 5 times. The only time, apart from the suppression of some religious sects, when the Roman churches used a regular crusade against heretics, it was against the Bohemian kingdom from 1515, let us say, to 1535. No? 5 times they were crushed while the farmers stood on, mobile carriages that were protected by strong plates of wood. They actually built some immovable walls, castle walls, fortress walls out of these farmer wagons, and they could move them around and put them together to create a standing wall against the onslaught of the gentry and nobility that were heavily armored on horses. But these guys stood higher on these wagons and crushed them from a great distance with the farmers' handcraft tools that they have adjusted for military purposes. Okay. But Plato was thinking about a kind of academic, elite, traditional education, and he asked for music that should, arouse feelings of elevation and ecstasy and beauty, and would be, shaping the soul of the young warriors in the sense that they would be true to an ideal, and it should be a D-dur music, D-dur, what is called in English. So it should be optimistic, rhythmic, and beautiful. Okay, and by a sequence of coincidences in my fate, I was a member of the last school like this, one of the last schools like this in Eastern Europe. There were these professional sport training centers, like in Russia and GDR and in Czech Republic, because the new socialist Superman should beat the old capitalist sportsman in all disciplines. That was the plan of the party. So these centers were created, and youth were selected and they were granted all the privileges and all the supplies and the trainers and medical care and special food to grow an elite. And I was one of them in the fencing club, in the best fencing club in the Czechoslovak Republic at the time in Prague. Okay, I had no idea about what I am talking about now. You see, no idea absolutely. I was young, and I was selected because I was, bodily apt, fast reactions, perfect harmony of the coordination, motion, and devotion to the musketeer ideals, because it was the time when the Musketeers were my favorite reading. So and I came there. Okay, so there was a very professional, special kind of training. Again, a coincidence of political occurrences have proved profitable to me, because the teachers and the trainers and the leaders were really top people who were, before that, they were in academia as theoreticians of sport and teachers of sport, education, and maybe even trainers for professional teams. But then came 1968, and most of the clear-headed people protested against the Russian invasion, and then there was regime change, and all the people who were on the wrong side after the regime change were thrown out of their professions because they betrayed the party, so to say. But it was allowed that these sport theoreticians and professionals would run those professional training centers. Because, if you want to beat the capitalist bastards in hockey and in running and jumping and swimming and fencing and whatever, you need real heroes. You cannot just equip them with a party book and give them some paroles and send them like in a religious war, saying your belief will guide you. Now you need a real warrior, okay? So they realized this at least, and they allowed these professional trainers and doctors and theoreticians and metabolic, whatever, expert fitness professionals to train us with the command, see that these guys become the best and they win. You can do whatever you want, but don't make it public. So we were living in a kind of secluded bubble of Spartan education.
We told our tales as we sat under morning sleepy sky. With all the colors of the sunrise shining in our eyes. One day and another with a story of yesterday's life, or of a lover who had gone in a moment of strife. No thought of sleep ever dwells upon the wise man's mind.
some task or audience, stealing every moment of his time. Thus we have learned to live while mortal men stand waiting to die. How can we do what must be done in just one short life? And if you ask, then you must know. If you still doubt, you should be told. It was not we that made it so. It was by those who went before. And there you sit, tomorrow's child, so full of love, so full of life. But you must rise to meet the day, lest you become another tale. And there you sit, tomorrow's child, so full of love, so full of life. But you must rise to meet the day, lest you become another tale.
Then another coincidence, which was very good. It was 1965 when I started. And I was 64. I was 63. I was 8 years old when I started. 64, something like that. And then came 68, and then actually also came the rock music area of the 60s and up to the 70s, which was the best music I can imagine for this education of coordination, power, ecstasy, being, carried away by a beautiful image, seeing the gods and stuff like that. With what? With the music of Uriah Heep, Deep Purple, and Black Sabbath, and some of Who, and Creedence Clearwater Revival, and many others. Good rock bands, yes, even Genesis, not some fast songs of Jethro Tull, let us say, and this was the background music for our training, okay. Because the competition team was already on the road in Germany and in Austria to show the bastard capitalists that we are much better. And the boys were bringing the records back, and we have multiplied the records on tapes, real tapes, and we had them in the training area. And when we had free time, we put on Black Sabbath and Uriah Heep and so on, Deep Purple, and we were fighting like hell. I have a selection of the powerful songs, and I hammer in an ecstasy. And I feel such an elevation of beauty and harmony. And I have never betrayed this ideal. And I could never betray, if it was my duty to protect the Polis. Yeah? Well, today, unfortunately, warriors are not asked for, because the modern technology has made us useless. No? You can have the best forehand and backhand, or best guard and turrets, and best verteidigen and attack in fencing, and some fucking degenerated guy is going to shoot you from great distance, or send a drone on you, and you know, because the warrior type man, the poetic man, has a certain dislike of machines, no? Because it is not phenomenal. This is very well shown in the beautiful film with Tom Cruise, The Last Samurai. The samurais were the top level warriors who trained the whole life, and even every moment of their life, practical life, was coordination, concentration, perfection, meditation. Okay, and this, after all, is phenomenology. This is the experience of perfection from inside, is the guiding force for training. I'm exercising Qigong also, and I try to connect tennis, fencing, and Qigong in my private time when I train on the wall, with music even. And I see how tremendously demanding this task is. If you imagine, if you know, you have a body, a human body. It has some 120 bones, including the small ones, and some 600 muscles. And this, if you make a permutation, how many positions this body could take, and if you make it dynamic, it should be a flow, and it should also hit with a prolongation of your arm where you have the
to make you feel much better than you could know. Better than you could know. Dust you down from tip to toe. Dust you down from tip to toe. Show you how the garden grows. Show you how the garden grows. Hold you steady as you go. Hold steady as you join the chorus if you can. It'll make of you an honest man. Let me bring you love from the fields. Poppies red and roses filled with summer rain, to heal the wound and still the pain that threatens again and again, as we drag down every lover's lane. Life's long celebrations here, I'll toast you all in any cheer. Let me bring you all things refined, galley nights, songs served in chilling ale. Greetings, well met fellow, hail. I am the wind to fill your sail. I am the frost to take your nail. A singer of these ageless times, with pitch and prose and gutter rhymes.
I play the other arm.
And the rock is a small sweet point, and you should hit a flying ball in a perfection. Well, and you can stay all life at the wall with the music, but only if your desire is not to crush the opponent, win, make money, and be admired. This will nourish your soul at say young days now. To be admired by girls and to buy a new car, like this professional tennis group of young competitions, okay. But if you are 40, 50 or 60, this will not motivate you anymore. What will motivate you is the inner phenomenal experience of harmony, elegance, and a spiritual kind of ecstasy, aesthetic and erotic ecstasy even, a unity with the elements of nature, because it's outdoor sport. I have changed from fencing to tennis when I was about 30, because I have realized, I don't want to carry the heavy bag with all the equipment all the time and and be confined indoor. I don't want to be indoor anymore. So I changed to tennis and skiing. So the samurai is the same. The inner experience of the body perception and harmony and the unity with the elements and the natural elements was the guiding of a power. And if they should be shooting from guns, and this is not possible to keep this level and depth of your soul field if suddenly a gun explodes, gunpowder expands, and there is this bang, okay? This naturally destroys the smoothness of your motion. It was then maybe rediscovered with Robert Redford's and Charles Bronson cowboy films, where these guys had an elegance in shooting, but it was a small gun, and they were handheld gun, and they were more or less dancing with it, and it also had a kind of artistic movement of shooting without aiming. But generally a weapon which can throw bullets in an enormous speed which no man's reaction can compete with from a great distance, it was the end of chivalry. It was the end of the heroes being, involved in a heroic fight on the field for a long time. And I believe that if two warriors, two fencers fencing with a sword, have tired themselves because they were very good, both of them, that they would stop and they would acknowledge the mastery of the other guy, and they would simply bow and walk away, because they would see how much was invested in this excellence. But if you have a gun, you don't even see the face and you don't feel the soul of the opponent, you simply pull the trigger. Okay, so the end of chivalry with the invention and application of gunpowder. And that is why also tennis was created or invented at the court in France. It was no more economic or even desirable for the survival to take part in wars that were decided by firearms. So the nobility stayed in the castle, but the drive to move, to compete, to show off, to achieve excellence was still there. So for some time there was a saloon fencing, like, just showing off. And then when they discovered that it was not practicable to kill each other in the palace just to satisfy the pleasure or the necessity for a real fight, they invented tennis. And tennis was then okay, it was a real fight, but it was without killing. The first ball games originated in France after the invention in Paris of firearms. So this is one of the reasons I publish so many even videos with those old rock songs, and that I select the rock songs that are with strong vocalization and positive melody, D-dur, I would say, and kind of vision, a text that is highly positive as far as the union of the warrior with the elements. This is also the base of romantic poetry, that everywhere sun, clouds, rivers, and so.
All my life I wanted to be somebody, and here I am!